Hello and welcome to this special how-to video on configuring GSuite for Fly migrations. Before we start, please note that everything we're going to talk about here is in the Fly user guide. The easiest way to find it is to open the guide, click search at the top left, and type in GSuite. What you'll want is located under the GSuite permissions. When getting ready to do something like a Gmail migration into Office 365, you need to set up a GSuite connection. To do that, go into Fly, click Connection Manager on the left, and then click GSuite up at the top. You'll be prompted for things like your GSuite domain, your admin account, service account, and then the private key. If you've never set those up before, that is entirely done in GSuite. So let's take a look at how that works. Essentially, there are 6 steps to getting set up. First thing you'll need to do is to make sure that all of the Google APIs that we need to do the migration are enabled. This includes things like Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Tasks, and so on. Once you've done that, you need to then enable API access, so outside clients such as Fly are able to communicate in and talk to those APIs. You'll then make sure that an admin account has the appropriate permissions, and a separate service account also has the permissions that it needs. This may seem a little unusual if you're used to setting up all admin and service accounts in the same user interface, as in GSuite's case, admins and service accounts are done separately. Once the service account is set up with the permissions that it needs, you'll then be able to create the private key. Once your service account has its private key, you'll then be able to perform the last step, which is to give clients such as Fly access to the Google APIs through the service account. It may seem like you would have done that earlier when you enabled API access, but all you really did at that point was allow something, anything really, to potentially be able to connect. This last step here specifically allows the service account with its private key to access the APIs that you need. So first, we would visit the APIs in GSuite, and you have to go into each one of them one at a time, clicking on their tile to open up their settings, and checking off that it's enabled. The required APIs are listed here at the bottom of this slide. Once you've enabled all the APIs, you then go back into your admin center into the security settings and make sure Enable API Access is checked. After that, we spend time setting up our accounts. First, the admin account, which you can also again get into by going back to your admin center and then into users. In Fly's case, the service account requires user management and services admin permissions. The service account permissions, as I mentioned, are done in a different location. They're not just straight in users under your admin console. You have to go into IAM and admin, locate the service account, or create a new one if need be. And then once it's created, you need to enable GSuite domain-wide delegation. Once that's done, then you can go to the bottom on that same page and you can click Create Key. In this particular screenshot, I already had a key associated, which is why I've blocked it out. But when you're setting this up, you'll be creating a key for the first time for that service account. After you've got the key, the last step is to go and then give clients access to the APIs. For this, you're going to need the client name, which is essentially an ID assigned to that service account. And you'll also have to tell it which APIs in particular you want to associate that service account with. I've got it here on the screen, but again, it's also in the user guide, so you'll be able to select that entire line, copy it, and paste it right into this box. Keep in mind that each of the different APIs must be separated with a comma, and that is the format that we have it in the user guide. As far as the client name, that ID I just mentioned, you can pull that out of your private key file. So once you've created the private key for the service account, you'll want to open that file up and just keep it there on your screen in Notepad. Go into the private key file and locate that client ID number. Once you find it, copy and paste that back into that screen, copy and paste all those APIs, and then save. After that is complete, you will be able to go back into Fly and enter all of the information that you now have. Again, your GSuite domain, the email address of the admin account, the email address of the service account, and then the private key, which you will still have opened up on your screen. Please note, there is a bit of a delay here when you do these settings in GSuite. You may not be able to immediately complete configuration come right back here into Fly, paste everything in, and save. If you do get some type of error message here in Fly, give it a few minutes and then try it again. It's not a configuration issue if you follow all the instructions, it's just that those settings are not yet available to outside clients when trying to connect to GSuite. So please remember that little delay. And then that's it. Once you do that and it's able to save, you will now have your brand new GSuite connection. And again, now you'll be able to go in and do things like Google Drive and Gmail migrations. As I mentioned at the beginning of this recording, please be sure to check out the walkthrough in the user guide. Once again, open up the Fly user guide, click search, type in GSuite, and go to GSuite permissions. Everything we talked about here, including all of the necessary URLs that you need to hit, and every single configuration is on one page. You'll be able to start at the top, follow it straight down to the bottom, and then you'll be all set to go back into Fly and create your GSuite connection. Thanks for watching this short how-to on configuring GSuite for Fly migrations.